below that included items that were embedded into our agenda, which include the approval of minutes from our regular school board meeting on November 17th of 2025, the Board Academy meeting on December 1st of 2025, the payment of bills, the employee resignations, the employee hires and contracts, the alternative open enrollment applications, the Tomah High School ESS waivers, and an out-of-state travel for members of the Tomah High School Honors Choir to Dorian Vocal Festival at Luther College in Decorah, Iowa on January 11th of 2026 through January 12th of 2026. So is there anything that anybody needs to be pulled out?
I just want to make a comment on one of them.
Then I have to pull it out.
Okay.
Which one?
It is E, the E one.
E? Okay, so we're going to pull E, alternative open enrollment, out. If there's nothing else, I would look for approval of the rest of the consent agenda items that I read off.
So moved.
Got a motion by Teresa. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Sue. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, then we have the alternative open enrollment applications.
Okay, what I wanted to bring to the attention, yet again, a lot of these are, the reason is for conduct in the school and what's happening with our students, and that we really need to do better and continue to do better with the behavior issues that we have. That's all I want to say.
Okay, if there's any other discussion or comments?
Question.
Yep.
One of them, try and think of how to word this to protect confidentiality. Number 5, that there's like no Tomah in there, and number 10.
Oh.
Do you know? Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
What did you say?
They're residents of Tomah.
Okay.
They haven't attended.
Never came.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I would look for a motion to approve the alternative open enrollment applications that were embedded.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll say.
A second by Spencer. Got a motion by Teresa, a second by Spencer. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next is communication with the public. We have one person signed up tonight. I just have to read a quick comment. The board will now entertain public comments for up to 30 minutes. Please note that if you wish to provide public comment to the board, you must register your intention to do so upon arrival at the meeting. You must be a district resident and are requested to preface your comments by an announcement of your name, address, and group affiliation if applicable. Public comments are limited to a total of 3 minutes in length per individual. When your time is up, I will remind you that your time is over and you should conclude your remarks. Participants must direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. No person may address or question board members individually. Please note that certain subjects are not appropriate for public comment. Comments that are personally directed, abusive, obscene, irrelevant, or otherwise inappropriate are not permitted. If you make such comments, I will interrupt you and admonish you to refrain from doing so. If you persist on doing so, I will advise you that your time is over and you will not be permitted to offer any further comments. Okay. All participants are encouraged to ensure that all information offered is truthful and honest. False statements or stigmatizing charges may subject the individual making such statements to legal repercussions, including, but not limited to, defamation claims. In addition, please note that our board has adopted certain policies regarding district management and the roles of the board and its administration play in managing the district. Therefore, please understand that if you may be referred to other district officials if it is apparent from your comments that you have not brought your concern to the attention of the right district personnel so that you can receive the assistance that you need. Finally, please remember that I will be managing this public comment portion of our meeting so that we can meet the objectives I have mentioned in this introduction. And we have Vaughn Keel signed up tonight.
Are you ready?
Name is Vaughn Keel. I live at 16083 Herring Road, Tomah, Wisconsin. This won't take very long. I cannot even imagine the stress and the time involved in the budget process for the Tomah area school district. But I believe if the Tomah school district cannot survive on 40 to 45 million for one school year, I'm only going by what I've heard on the radio as far as a possible referendum, throwing more money into the pot will not make a difference. I am not the only person, different subject. I'm not the only person that remembers the lack of transparency and the rest of the process used by the school board trying to acquire land. Thousands of dollars spent, gone, that should have been kept in the school system. So I suggest, no matter who's on the board, work on that transparency thing. It's very important because people don't like to be left in the cold. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Okay, that was all we had for public comment tonight, or I'm sorry, communication with the public tonight. So we'll move into reports. And the first thing we have is recognition of staff and students. And usually it would be Miss Ruby Joyce, but tonight we have Miss Kaylee Eagleson, who is our representing our THS, is our THS student representative to the board tonight.
Hello. So far for what we have is second semester starting soon. Grades are finalizing January 16th. We are also in prep for finals, so teachers are getting ready for their final last test that they have for students. For the holidays, we have lots of planning for the holiday assemblies. We have teachers and students involved this year. We are also working on the 12 days of Christmas dress up, which are working very well. We are currently on our 6th day, which was pajama day. Our normal rock, paper, scissors tradition, this is our 3rd year going on. Students and staff can play rock, paper, scissors, and in return they get like a beaded necklace, and if you have 30 you compete at our assembly, and you get a really big prize if you are the final champion. And then we have our guest home mini jar in the office. And then for FFA, they are collecting pop tabs. It helps people or the parents who have children who are in the children's hospital, also associated with the Ronald McDonald thing. And then they are collecting them during Timberwolf time, and then whoever has the most at the end of their collecting, they will get a prize. They are also looking for a fundraiser for their activities throughout the year.
Cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate the update.
Mr. Chairman, my apologies, we do have a further addition, Tomah Middle School's math competition recognition.
Oh, okay.
That was not on the agenda, but that was supposed to be a rollover, which I wanted to get to this month. So
Yeah.
with your permission, sir, may we have Mrs. Lagner?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yep. So adding underneath the student, we'll have a presentation that looks by Miss Langer and Lagner.
He's so excited. We just came from the band concert. How'd that go?
Good.
Fantastic. It went fantastic. Yes, Tom. Okay. So every year we compete in the Math 24 competition. It's held at the Tomah Middle School. This year we had about 13 teams there from many different schools. And Lane was part of the Tomah Gold team that took home first place. Or second place. Oh my gosh, we were so close to first place. At the end of second round, we were in first place. And then we ended up in second, but it was great. So tell them a little bit about your experience. So excited. I'm surprised she's this quiet. What do you think? No?
Well, it was fun because, like, after it was over, we got to have pizza and skipped, like, half the classes.
Yep. But we learned math too, right? We learned math, yes. So there was about 8 kiddos, like Nolan Moore, Parker Olson, Landon Thornton, Andre Gilmore, Ian Johnson, Natalie Krigo, and Callan Kalnick with you. And again, like, they did a fantastic job. They spent a lot of time practicing during flex time, and we're just really proud of them. And they have a trophy, but that is being held sacred in the 6th grade. So that we don't get to do that. Yeah? All right, thank you.
Hey, good job.
Good job.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, next we have student achievement, preparing our students to succeed each year and in future post-secondary education and career of their choices. And underneath that, we have a presentation of our leadership activities at Warren's, Wyeville, and Tams, and Oakdale, and Camp Douglas with their guiding coalition.
We're excited tonight to bring more information about the professional learning community and a guiding coalition perspective for this evening. And I'll turn everything over to our team from
WCAT. So I'll start. Tim Janevico, principal of Warren's and Wyeville, the first 2 W's in WCAT. Before I go any further, though, I can't. This is kind of like a proud parentish moment. I'm pretty excited to share that Kaylee is a former Wyeville student, and Lane is a former Warrens student. So, a very good night for us to come and show off a couple of our wonderful ex-students. But first, this isn't on here, but I want to share something about this WCAT Guiding Coalition that I think is kind of a neat thing. So we talked a lot about what we wanted to name ourselves, because we have all of these different schools, and our initial thought was Outline Guiding Coalition, because people often refer to us as outlying schools. But as we had a discussion as a group, a lot of people in our group actually did not really like that, because there's some past history of those are the schools kind of on the outlying part of our district and not really part of our district. And also we kind of lose our identity within the team. So they really wanted each one of those letters to stand individually but together. And that was more of a conversation than you thought it might be, but an important conversation, and it shares a lot about the attitudes and how these people feel about the group that we have. So getting started into that, I just want to share a little bit about the makeup of our team. So the team has 2 building principals. So me, Tim Genevico, and you're familiar with Miss Culpet behind me. We do have 1 coach, and that's Chelsea Juliet, who is also here. We have 3 Warrens staff members. Moretta Buddy, who is also here with us as our rep there. Moretta is a special education teacher out there. Betsy Schultz is a 4K teacher. Justina Urmansky is a 3rd grade teacher at Warrens. Then we have 3 Wyeville folks. Cassidy Crane is here. Cassidy is a 1st grade teacher. Allie Price is a 5th grade teacher, and Tanya Seipel is a spec ed teacher at Wyeville. And then 3 Camp Douglas folks, Camp Douglas and Oakdale folks. Anna Berg is a 1st grade teacher. Nikki Bloom, did she make it yet? She's on her way. Nikki had a Culver's tip night tonight that she was kind of in charge of, and she's trying to hustle her way here. So hopefully before it's her part, she will get here. But Nikki, a wonderful team member, 5th grade teacher, was 1st grade, now 5th grade teacher, and then Jenna Brookman, who is spec ed as well at those schools. And then we do have 1 TAMS representative, Jamie Harlos, who is the E2, so 4th through 6th grade teacher. So quite an eclectic group, really important, really good group of folks there as part of the team. So, and then a little bit of background history for those of you that aren't familiar. We were initially 4 separate guiding coalitions. So we had a Warrens, a group of 4 at Warrens, group of 4 at Wyeville, group of 4 at Camp Oak, and then the group at TAMS that are kind of, there's not even 4 of them as teachers, but no, they were all together as a group there. So we had some different GCs. But we really, as we've done the work over the years, we decided that we really had become a team. Our teachers were meeting on a very regular basis, and we really were, even though we're in these individual buildings, we really did feel like we were part of a team, and we wanted all voices to be part of our guiding coalition, our leadership team. So last spring, a decision was made that we would combine these so that we had 1 leadership group that was leading everybody, and there was definitely representation from all of the different schools. Right now, what we are doing is we are currently meeting, so we meet twice a month. We actually had a meeting tonight, and then we meet again right after break, the Monday right after break. So right now what we are doing is we are meeting virtually, so we all get on a virtual meeting, which we've become pretty adept at after doing this for a couple of years, and 1 person or 1 in person per month. So we've been kind of traveling around and going to different ones of our buildings so that we could actually meet in person and see each other face to face and continue to build those relationships with each other. So we've done 1 of each month. And then the last thing that I'm going to kind of mention, one of the things that the group is doing, and I really, from a leadership perspective, I have become very proud of our teachers who are stepping in and being leaders within their buildings. They've actually started leading meetings, and the 4th Monday of every month is a professional development meeting where, as a guiding coalition, we develop what we want to talk about, an important topic, an important teaching practice that we want people to be utilizing, and it's our guiding coalition members that are leading those meetings. It's not me, it's not Lisa, it is our guiding coalition teachers that are leading that learning, which we all, well, maybe we don't all know, but I'll say it means a lot more coming from their colleagues, honestly, than it really even means coming from their principals. So when their colleagues are talking to them about things that are important, it really hits a different tenor than it does when just your building principal does that. So, and right now our focus, which is going to lead into our next couple of things, is on Tier 1 core instruction, because as you guys are well aware of, we do not have 70% of our students or 80% of our students at or above grade level. So we know we need to continue to improve that core instruction at the base level. So that's a little bit of the history of our guiding coalition. So if you want to skip to the next thing, about our collective commitments. Hey, Nikki.
Hi. I'm so sorry.
No, we're good.
You're good. I was just running Camp Douglas Safety Patrols Culver's tonight, so I had to take care of that.
So one of the things that we had when we were all individual guiding coalitions was we had our own collective commitments, and we kind of felt like we needed to be more unified and come together, since our professional learning community grade level teams are all combined. So we've come up with a collective of collective commitments. So this is what all of our buildings have committed to. So the first two are, we commit to making decisions that are student-centered versus adult-preferred, and we commit to creating a safe space to discuss concerns with a positive, solution-focused attitude.
And then we commit to working interdependently to engage students in high-quality learning, and we commit to treating everyone with respect and compassion. And like Marita was saying, with getting those collective commitments, we took our GC and we kind of come up with our own, and then we looked at all of the 4 buildings to kind of see what everybody had, or 5 buildings, I apologize, the 5 buildings, see what everybody had. And when we kind of brought it all back together, we said, well, we all need to be the same thing. And so we looked at all of them and we combined all of them, like she said, and we sent it out to the staff. And we said, pick your top 5 of the thing that you would like to do. And then we kind of reevaluated that, and these were what we dwindled it down to. And then us as a GC adopted the exact same ones. So staff and GC all have the exact same ones.
And I'm back, sorry. So this is something that I don't know, I've kind of been a little bit annoyingly passionate about, and that is, I put these years up here for a reason. So Warren's Elementary was established in 1937, long time ago. Wyeville in 1959, Camp Douglas in 1990, Oakdale in 1957, Tams in 2015. In the history of those schools, Tams is a little bit different because they had some form of collaboration from the start because they're in the same building there. But until, in all those years, looking at those years, 37, 59, 90, 57, there was never until September of 2023 a time where outlying teachers got the opportunity to collaborate with grade level colleagues. I have said this, I don't know how many times in the last few years. To me, that is unbelievably powerful. If you're a first grade teacher at Warren's from 1937 until 2023, hopefully somebody wasn't there for that long, but they never had the opportunity on a regular basis to collaborate with a grade level colleague. And since 2023, we kind of kicked things off as a group, starting to kind of learn, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this virtually? What are going to be our expectations of each other? And then they first started, so initially it was kind of all of us together. I was leading the learning along with Carrie Duelmeyer. Those of you that remember Carrie, who used to be an instructional coach here, did a lot of that learning virtually with everybody. In November of 2023, our Warrens and Wyeville group was meeting virtually, and some of our music, art, PE was as well. Camp and Oak were also meeting with each other, but not with Warrens and Wyeville. So in the April of 2024, I actually found the emails, April 3rd, 2024. We had our very first full outline meeting where all of those grade level teachers started meeting with each other. So we are still kind of in our infant stages, really, when you think about it. April of 2024 until now. And now, again, we are meeting twice a week. Once a day per week for 55 minutes, and then every Wednesday for 75 minutes. So I just, again, I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'm going to kind of back away and let a few of our teachers tell their stories here. But I think about the impact that it's had on those teachers to now meet with other people that are teaching like for like curriculum, like for like essential standards, and not just a first grade teacher talking to a second grade teacher, which is great, but it's not the same battle that you're fighting every single day and the same, standards and materials and everything else. So I won't say much more on that because I don't want to steal anybody behind me's thunder. But that's pretty awesome that we're able to do those things now. Now, there weren't computers in 1937 to be able to meet virtually either, but I'm very proud of what these people have done. So, and I'm going to let them tell their stories. So.
Hello, my name is Cassidy Crane. I teach first grade at Wyeville. I have been there for 12 years, and until the last few years, I've really been on my own. I have a wonderful staff, and as much as they try to help out, we are in vertical alignment, and so I'm not able to meet with them about first grade essential standards and first grade needs. So it has really been a blessing for me to be able to collaborate weekly with grade level teachers, and we're able to unit plan together, we're able to bounce ideas off of each other, and I just feel like a much more effective teacher because I am a true believer that you are better together than on your own. I feel like our shift has really gone from teaching to learning. We are really focused on our essential standards. Those are really like what is leading what we're doing in the classroom now. And it gives us a clear focus, but also our students a clear focus of where we're going and what we need to be doing. I know many teachers talk about how sometimes they feel like they're kind of losing prep, but I would argue that I actually feel like I get a lot more done because our meetings are set up, our agenda's ready to go, we have all of our things in line, and then we're just moving along and making things happen. So I feel like I've done a lot better job and have a better use of my prep time from having these collaborative meetings. And then one of the last things that I have really appreciated is I really feel like we've come focusing back on professional development. Since COVID, we kind of stopped. And as educators, we are lifelong learners, and I really feel like we are refocusing on teaching all of our staff, support staff, and our professional staff. So I've really enjoyed that as well. Thank you.
All right. I am Nikki Blum. I used to teach first grade at Oakdale, so I've been with this outlining school since I started back in 2015. So I did 10 years at Oakdale, and now I'm at 5th grade at Camp Douglas in my first year there. And so this really has been beneficial to me, but I'm going to backtrack for just a second and give you another little history on our collaboration too. So in our time, we used to collaborate with grade level teams once, maybe every 3 months. And it was the whole district together. And so we'd talk about our frustrations. We'd have more of a venting session, or we'd be like, hey, how'd you do in that test that we did 3 months ago? And then we would just put it in the pile and walk away from it. So we really didn't have anything to do with it. We weren't able to focus on the learning like Cassie was just talking about. So for a person on the outlining school to have somebody to communicate with every single day or every single week, that is a positive. I know who I can call when I need something, and it's not something that I have to wait 3 months to find an answer to. So starting that new grade for me as well, I have somebody at my disposal anytime that I need them. And also, like we've talked about, we're able to plan together at the same time, so we know. I just go in, I pull up my calendar, I go, yep, that's what I'm teaching today, and I just double check it and I'm good to go. So I feel way more relaxed as well. So even though I spent a good chunk of my time over here coming into a new grade, I haven't had any stress at all when it came to it because I knew I had support behind me every single week. I know what I'm reteaching, but not only that, we take all of that data and all of the things that we're teaching, we're reassessing kids a lot more and talking about it. So we're able to look and see, okay, my students in my building did well on this specific standard. How did your students do? And if you did really well or better than mine, what are you doing that I can now do in my classroom? And that has created more of a conversation for us. And then not only that, we can then pinpoint exactly what skills the students are missing so we can reteach and get them to where they need to be. So for a long time, like that has been our history, and now we have this, and the outlying schools have kind of just been left to the dust for a long time. We're out there, and now we kind of have our own voice, we have our own unit, and we're just a cohesive group now.
Hello, I'm Moretta Buddy. I teach special education at Warrens Elementary. So one of the things that I've really seen as an impact of this is much better teacher onboarding than we've ever had before. So we've had brand new first year teachers as well as teachers who've transferred from a different school or a different district. And overwhelmingly, I hear, I'm so supported. I have my grade level people I can go to. I have the people in my building I can go to. It's really changed how it was compared to how it used to be a few years ago. I get the pleasure of being in and out of different classrooms all day long, so I get to see all my coworkers teach, which most teachers don't get to see all the time. Every single teacher at Warrens is a better teacher than they were 3 years ago. And we were good teachers 3 years ago, but we're way better teachers now. Everybody has picked up things from different areas from this collaborative process. It is shocking how much we've changed in such a short time. And as a building, we've really had a cultural shift to focus on academics. So we keep coming back to, we were student focused before and we're still student focused, but there's an academic mindset. So if we do this in our PBIS plan, how does that affect academics? Instead of just looking at pieces interdependently. And then we're super, super grateful that you guys have given us Wednesdays to collaborate because it's really beneficial, and we're thrilled that you're training the support staff. So our support staff have never been as trained as they are right now, and we're really appreciating it, and they're really appreciating it. And it goes back to what Cassidy was saying about we've really gone back to we are lifelong learners. We're going to continue to learn and grow.
I'm Chelsea Juliet, and I am the instructional coach who has the absolute joy of getting to work on this guiding coalition. So when we first came together, which would be this summer, our first task was, of course, to get to know each other a little bit because they'd been on all of these separate guiding coalitions for, the history of when we've had guiding coalitions, right? So we got to know each other. We were put in this little room and given all of our student data. And our job was to come up with some goals. So, pretty quickly, I have to say I get chills thinking about this. We went from a group that was more or less strangers to, by the end of even the first day of working together, taking a very honest and open look at our current reality, and then not sitting there wallowing. We weren't blaming, shaming, or anything like that. They were like, okay, this is what we got. What are we going to do about it? What are we doing? And these are the goals that we came up with. So the first one being, within a team-based cycle of inquiry, use assessments to inform and strengthen our Tier 1 instruction, ensuring all students grow and achieve. Teams must embrace an ongoing process of reviewing and using student data, different kinds too, academic, behavioral, because we know that that's important too, social emotional or otherwise, to inform instructional practices and improve student learning. And this data may include, but is not limited to, assessments. So again, I want to point out a really common theme here, all students. Our second goal is by the end of our 2025-26 school year, all students will be at or above grade level on the iReady Math Diagnostic. And then our third goal was by the end of this 25-26 school year, all students will be at or above the 50th percentile as measured by the Ames Web Assessment. That's our reading. So again, it speaks volumes about our team and our teachers just by looking at what they chose as goals. Thank you.
And they had to put me in here because they didn't want Mr. Genevico to do all the talking. But our goals are actually aligned with the district goals. So I think for the first time in a very long time, we all, in all 5 of our buildings, have the same goals. We're looking the same way, looking forward. We are also involved in Leadership Lab at CISA 4. And so all of us just finished our 2nd meeting and came away from that with some action plans, even more so than what we had. So in regard to goal number 1, tonight we just started with creating a data protocol for all teams to follow, giving them some tools so that as they're looking at the data every time they're together or when it's appropriate for them to look at it, there are certain things we're looking for, questions we're asking, and then what's next. So we put that together today. We continue district-wide learning around the different assessments. We missed some learning last Wednesday when we had a snow day, so we will be making that up this coming Wednesday. Our PLC teams are continuously working on common assessments, which is very different from what they did previously, where the curriculum leaders would create an assessment and we would disperse it to all the teachers and they would just take it. And now they each have ownership into the assessments that they are creating and using. So for goals number 2 and 3, actions that we have set up, we're creating professional development in our buildings around effective instructional practices. And as Mr. Genevico mentioned, it's led by the GC members. They really listen more carefully than when Tim or I are up there giving them the same information. So far, our GC came out of the block with, this is what we're doing in September, October, November, and we were just going like a train. We've taken a few steps back to slow things down a little bit because we need a little bit more time to do learning first so that we can share some of that information, being those lead learners. We are looking at assessment data, having discussions about best practices, and focusing on essential standards. I believe it was about 2010 when we started talking about standards and making sure that everybody knew what the standards were. And every single collaboration meeting that I am in, they are talking standards. They know their standards, the essential standards. Well, this is the standard in this unit. These are the things that we need to make sure they know. And it's so amazing. And finally, working like this with our collaborative team, we have a stronger RTI system so that those students that didn't get it the first time, we're not just like, oh, we have to keep going. We're spending time filling in those gaps, like they didn't get it this first time. Now we're going to go back as a team. We've decided this is what we can do. And then those students that do get it, what is the enrichment for them or the extension? And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We got questions for anybody individually or all as a whole, or?
I have just one question, and it's just that, you know, you've got the 5 schools working together, which I think is fantastic, but are we sure that Miller and LaGrange are being pulled in to make sure that they're staying with what you guys are doing? Because it certainly sounds like you're having some success and stuff. So I guess just to make sure they're not being outliers to the 5.
Right. No, as a district, each grade level does have pacing plans or pacing guides so that they are all at the same spot. If a student would transfer from one of my schools to Miller or to LaGrange, our 1st grade, our 3rd grade, they would all be in the same place, learning the same things. So that was been set up, and that's the first time in a long time. So.
You know, all of the buildings, sorry, All of the buildings have guiding coalitions, and they are doing very similar things collaboratively with their first grade. It's just they're actually physically in the same building and can walk across the hallway, meet in the same room, whereas we have to meet in a virtual environment. So a lot of the great things you're hearing here, they are doing as well. So, yeah.
I don't know, I just wrote down different things I heard. Learn, not teach. I think that's cool. The interaction, synergy, cohesive. Let's see, not feeling isolated. The culture. That was pretty key. And then the no branding for the PBIS. In other words, just because you have that label, that means you're not an outlier. You also will be brought into the mix. Data driven. I think that's what we've been talking about a lot. Data driven, not just what we think. And then goals. I like that. It's pretty aggressive.
They are.
But nonetheless, those are goals, and then leadership and ownership. I was real pleased with everything. I could see it, the nonverbals too. Very, very obvious. Thank you.
I am just really glad that your goals are that aggressive. They needed to be a long time ago, and that you finally were able to get that implemented, and that you feel like you can come to the district and say, hey, if we need something, can we have that a little bit more? I've heard really positive things about the Wednesday collaboration from all of you, which is really good. I don't hear that from every single teacher. I don't know where the teachers are that don't give me that kind of feedback. They're either, they're somewhere, but I don't know exactly where. I don't have that information, but hopefully you guys can spread this, and it'll happen to all schools because it's desperately needed, I think. So thank you very much for doing this.
It's nice to see the outlying schools kind of join together, having had kids that went to Wyeville, Oakdale, and Camp. They did, I think the kids did too, felt like they were on an island and that they really weren't even part of the district as a whole because they never saw anybody. I mean, it just was an isolation kind of thing. So it's nice that you guys have kind of got together and at least helped them to realize that we're part of a whole. You're not out here all by yourself. So it's good to see.
So I'll start with a positive. Not that there's really a negative, but so I definitely see it in my own kids that go to Warren's. The academics, we were just talking the other night and my husband asked all of our kids, what's 10% of 4.8 million? And like my 3rd and 5th graders just rattled it off. And I was like, wow, you guys have really good teachers. But I have a question though. The professional development meetings on the 4th Monday. Can you tell me some of like the focuses of those professional development meetings? Like what are the topics you guys are talking about?
So just for an example, we tend to focus a lot more on instructional practices. So one specific one that we've been talking about recently is automatic feedback right away to the student and what that can look like. So in the past, a lot of times we would have an assessment, we get it, we grade it, off it goes in the drawer. Now we're taking it and talking to the staff about how can you give that information back to the students so they can now have ownership of their own learning, see what they have done wrong, and then do correction. So a simple example, at least in my 5th grade classroom, is I give them an index card, I write a problem on the board, and then, and this is something that I've learned through this, by the way, as well. I put the problem on the board, they solve it, I collect it, I say nothing, I shuffle them up, and then I just go yes, no, about which one's right or which one wrong. Never say a name or anything like that. And then I'll pick 1 or 2 of the no's and write them on the board, and then we have a class discussion as to what happened, what went wrong. And so they're teaching each other, essentially. So I'm now giving feedback without pinpointing anybody specific, not placing blame, not like humiliating or anything like that. But it just allows them to have that feedback, and then they'll be like, oh. So then you give it to them again, and they're like, I got it.
students. So that automatic feedback, and that can look very different in many different ways. I mean, it can look, it can be done all different kinds of ways. It can even be done through conversation with the kids too. If you ask them to turn and talk about a question, or make it a game, like, boom, clap, grab that marker, now answer the question, type thing. So you're giving that feedback, having that conversation with them. And that's part of that gradual lease as well. So I'm doing a lot of the teaching, but now I'm not really doing a lot of the teaching. Now they're teaching each other. So that's some of the learning that we've been doing.
Do your guys' professional developments ever deal with like the behaviors that are happening in the school and like collaborating on how to deal with those behaviors?
I think one of the very first professional development sessions that we had was on building relationships. And we know that when teachers and students have a good relationship, those behaviors can be curbed or assisted in a positive way. And so part of that was implementing morning meeting and the components of that. And that was our very first in September professional development. So absolutely, building those relationships was behavior. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. So we have, in all of our buildings, we also have 2 meetings a month. One is this one, but then we also have an all-staff meeting, and every one of our all-staff meetings focuses on something related to PBIS, and and that includes support staff as part of that meeting. So every single one of our building-wide meetings, we're talking about different aspects of PBIS, how again we can build relationships, how we can handle behaviors in a positive way, et cetera. So we do have the meetings that are more of an academic focus, they tend to be, but our building wide that includes support staff, definitely we are talking about behaviors and how we're handling them. So yeah, and the data protocol thing that we were talking about, creating a common data protocol, that is another one of our PD meetings. It's actually going to be on Monday. Don't tell the rest of the teachers if they're here, but that's going to be our PD on Monday. It's about data protocol and how we look at data. So
Love it. I was going to make one other comment. I think, weren't all 3 of your schools, I think Tams, Oakdale, and Warren's, weren't they all exceed expectations on the DPI? Okay. And you hadn't really even fully implemented all of your ideas yet, so I'm excited to see where that next, I'm expecting better things, even better things, because you guys are all really doing well, even so far. Great.
Teresa?
I'm going to piggyback on Ms. Rice's question about professional development. You have it for the teachers. What do you have professional development wise for your support staff?
do you want to speak to that, Michelle, or do you?
I can. So we have implemented on Wednesdays at the elementary level 45 minutes of professional development. Some examples have been Dawn Waddell and OTPT staff came in and talked about independence for students regardless of their disabilities, and using cue cards rather than so many words. And so that is district-wide available to all support staff, whether they work with special students exclusively or not. This month, they focused on poverty and what poverty really can do, or how it can influence students and their behavior. And then we're going to follow up this week with Josiana Denter, our social worker, talking to support staff about here are the resources that our students have. So if you hear certain things, there are resources within our district and our community to help them. But every Wednesday there's been something planned. And then one Wednesday a month they are in their buildings assisting like their special ed teachers with getting things ready for students for the coming weeks. So I work closely with 5 support staff members, and this has been massively impactful in my program with our students and our building. They've never been this well trained, and I have staff that have worked with us a long time and new staff, and it is amazing the things they've learned, and then the good questions they have for me and Tim it's really, really good. So I'm super grateful that you guys have given us the time to do that, because there just wasn't time, because they're always with students, which is great. We want them with students, but.
Very good. Thank you very much for the positive everything, and keep it rolling.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. All right, moving on, we got service to the Tomah community, engaging parents and community members to increase student achievement and support our school district. And under that, we have the acceptance of gift of money or materials.
Tonight, Mr. Chairman, we have from Confer financial donation to the Tomah High School FFA in the amount of $300. The Walmart donation to Tomah High School's Roots and Shoots for $300. From the Warren's Mall donation to Warren's Positive Activity Fund, $470. And an anonymous donation to the Wyeville Positive Activity Fund in the amount of $500. And from the Oakdale Electric, a donation to Tomah Middle School's Rachel's Closet in the amount of $750. And from Norman G. Munson Foundation, a donation to the Tomah High School CTE program of $2,000. This month's donations in the aggregate of $4,320. And as you see, spread across some really wonderful opportunities for students.
Maybe a silly question, but positive activity, is that like an account they have in the school to just kind of use at their discretion for,
Usually it's something that's school-wide for all students.
positive behavior. Yeah, sweet.
And that's the Warren Small donation. I believe that's the gas for Fridays. If you get gas at the Warren Small, they
As I was
give
wondering, I
a
figured
certain
that was, right.
part of the money they give. And the Patel family at the Warren Small is amazing and supporting the school and the community. So if you want to get gas on Friday, go to the Warren Small in Warrens and support Warrens Elementary.
What was that? Yeah, the one at South Tomah too.
You have to always go to Warren's.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't always have
There's one.
My kids are in Warren, so I have to say.
It'll be a non-Friday. It'll be a non-Friday, need gas.
On a non-Friday, go to the Quick Trip.
I'll make a motion that we accept those donations and we thank all the entities for their sincere generosity.
I'll second that. Thank you again to all those companies.
Got a motion by Sue and a second by Teresa to accept all those. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have nothing under future focused this week, or this month, and next we go to workforce engagement, attracting, retaining, continuously developing highly effective employees for our team. And under that, we have our Wisconsin Association School Board, we refer to as WASB, a presentation of information about their superintendent search services, and can take consideration and possible approval for some services. So, just coming from the back, she can introduce herself.
I'm gonna take a moment.
Yeah, I know. No, I know her. I talked to her. It's Cheryl, I think. Sorry. There it is, Spencer. Sorry. Spencer. This? I didn't yet. Her name's up there. No, here? Yeah. I'm sorry. You had to pronounce it though. Are you gonna get one?
Yeah.
What's it called? You want this?
Maybe she'll have.
All right, I do have some.
Do you want me to go get you one?
No, I think she's got some.
She's got handouts.
Yeah, she does. Yep, she said she'd have them, yeah.
Overachiever.
So I have for you a copy of PowerPoint, first of all, and then I also have a paper copy of the proposal, because sometimes seeing it on those screens is too tiny. So I will let you just start on this end. Yep. Yes. Thank you. So while that's going on, do a little introduction. So first of all, thank you for the opportunity tonight. We do appreciate this chance to share our search services and answer any questions you might have at this point. So I think those are all the way around now, just about. Okay, see if this is gonna work for you. Oh, it did, okay. So, a little bit about me. This is my 5th year working for the association. Prior to that, I spent a number of years working in the Montessori School District, so not too far away. Started as a business ed teacher and retired from there after going through both principalships at both buildings and 10 years as a superintendent. So got the opportunity to work with CISA 10 at that point in the districts there. And then I went to CISA 4, so a couple of you, maybe if you've been on the board for a while, we met when I was there. If you went to the annual meeting in August, possibly I was at some other meeting with you that you came to the CISA 4 office, but I spent 5 years as the CISA 4 administrator. So lots of opportunities to, again, meet with districts from throughout the state, especially down in this area. And after leaving CISA 4, then I started in 2020 with WASB. And my area with that organization has been primarily doing searches. So have had lots of opportunities to work with districts in this area, the western part of the state, the northern part of the state. So out of that list that you have in the proposal, that was started in 2019 and 20, there's about 16 of those school districts were searches that I did. So, and most of them right around in this area, if you see those districts regionally. So the first thing I'd like to emphasize on behalf of WASB is this: we believe strongly that it's your local search. We're responsive to what you're looking for, and I'm going to tonight just walk through the phases and give you a general overview. There are more details that are in that document that I might not get through all of that tonight, but I'm going to give you a general overview in about 10-15 minutes, okay? But the number one piece is this is your search, and it's directed in a way that you would like to have the search done. And when I get to a couple parts about some of our non-negotiables, we'll talk about that. All right, so responsive to your mission statement and to your vision statement. All right, number one thing about WASB that separates us from some of the other search firms is we are just a Wisconsin service agency. When you had the district or the beginning of the elementary schools up there, and I saw, 1937 for Warren's, WASB's been around since 1921, so even a little bit older than Warren's elementary school. So a lot of years focused on supporting all of you in your roles. We're strictly a support service agency for Wisconsin Public School Districts. That's what we do. So we've done a lot of searches over a lot of years. Rural and suburban schools, challenges and aspirations at all levels. And I do think, when Mike was hired, I do believe Fran Finko did that search. So he was a little closer at that point in time. So they do assign us in terms of school districts by trying to minimize the cost for travel. So Fran at that point was coming to you out of the Onalaska area. So Fran has left us now, but I'm not too far. I'm just up by Eau Claire. All right. So again, this is your search, and that's who we're going to partner with. So search stages, and they're listed in there. One of the first things that we would do is sit down with you as a board member, if we were fortunate to be hired to do your search, is sit down and work through a calendar. And you have a draft calendar on the very last page of that proposal. It has all the main components to it, and just to give you an idea of what kinds of things the board would be involved in and kind of the order. So the very first meeting we would finalize a calendar. So planning and preparation, what is it that you want in your search? This next piece here on the flow chart is a piece that is non-negotiable for us at WSB. We do want to advise and help you get input from stakeholders. The leader of your school district is someone that works with your community, connects with your community taxpayers are supporting that position. So input from community in terms of a survey, possibly some other opportunities, with your staff, engagement with your staff, looking at both the support staff and the teaching staff. We will help you with the interview tasks. There is a binder of information actually that you get at that planning meeting that walks through the whole process, has a list of interview questions that you can pick from, edit as you wish. but they are provided to you to help set those interviews up. My role would be to help make those contacts with those interview candidates and take that piece, the scheduling piece, and then be here to help you with those as you walk through them. Candidate selection. Another piece that's non-negotiable with WASB is you see, as board members, you will see all the applications. That is not true in some cases with some other firms. They maybe screen and pick the top 6, and that's who the board would see. Our belief strongly is that you need to see all the candidates and who's applied. So those are the two that for sure. Stakeholder involvement, and you have access to all the applications. And then helping you with that final selection process, there are sample contracts. There are things that we can help you with at that final piece when you get down to that last final candidate. And then another piece that's important to us is the transition. Having that new person get started, and I'll talk a little bit more in depth about that, about the 2 pieces that we have related to that. Okay? All right, so planning meeting, there's a list here of all the different pieces that we talk about. Timeline I mentioned. Posting notice, talk about what you want for application requirements. Do you want essay questions? How many recommendation letters? What would you like? And we'll give you a list of the standard things, but we'll talk about what is it you want. We'll talk about, start the conversation, what is it that you as board members, we talk about getting input from the staff and the community. As board members, what are you looking for in traits and skills with your next superintendent? What would be important? And that all helps develop those questions and the things that you're looking for when you are reviewing candidates as well. And then we'll also bring up at that point, if you haven't looked for a while on your job description or the current contract, maybe a process for maybe some people taking a look at that. So that's part of the planning meeting. The application review, again, you will see all of them. You will have a meeting where you sit and talk about that, and we have a process for helping to facilitate that selection process so it works efficiently and you're not here for hours upon end. So we'll also help with that first round of interviews, again, helping you with questions, setting up the interviews, and working with the team here on how you want to do that. Final interview, do you want to have an open forum? I think when Fran did the last one, there was an open community meeting with the final candidates. That's an option. There are a couple other ways we can handle that final interview process as well. We do the background checks, but we do have the board members help with, or someone on the board, usually there's 1 or 2 that offer to help with the reference checks, actually calling past employers. That's just a direct line versus, again, me having to give you my interpretation. We prefer to have the board members help with that reference check. But we'll do the background check on licenses and any history that might be questionable, those kinds of things. And we'll help with that final round of interviews. And then hiring, again, helping you with that final candidate, helping with the contract if we're asked, and if you'd like help with that, the press release, those communications out to the public about who was hired. And then a transition meeting, and that is very important to us. Strongly recommend it, that sometime in the first 4 months would be good, when they start July 1, having a meeting to get to know each other and talk about goals and start out as a working team together with the superintendent and the board. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. I apologize for how light that got, but that is that tentative calendar that's on the back. The items in red are the items where the board members would need to be in attendance. So we'd be setting up some meetings. When I looked at the draft on this, I did look at what nights you normally have your board meetings. So I started with the March board meeting and worked backwards in terms of if you would like this done so you could hire your person in March. And have this round set up and done early, because I got the impression if you're starting now, that's kind of what your goal is to get out there in the hiring process. So, person would start July 1, but you'd hopefully be done and have that person hired in March. All right. Sometimes there are questions because of us not necessarily being a national company. I mentioned we're here to serve Wisconsin school boards. So we do like to stress that we do reach nationwide. We have entities and organizations that we send all of our vacancy postings to. So some information just from Wisconsin School Leadership Center, which is a place that we work with, 28,000 plus exposures last year. So it's not that we're just looking at Wisconsin. We are spreading the news everywhere that we can possibly send it out to. We also have a database of people who are looking for superintendent positions, and they have their name in our group and ask to be notified when applications come open. So there's 600 applicants just in the Wisconsin portal that are mailed individually, emailed, sent a message each time there's an opening. We have the national affiliation and then the consortium of state school boards associations. So we do spread the information as far and wide as possible. All right, and the transition support. So one of the things that we've added, or we have as a service through WASB, is an evaluation framework that's been newly revised in the last year. And if a couple of you have been able to go to some of the WS meetings, I know they've made a point of stressing this, that there is a new updated framework. It helps districts with that process of evaluating your superintendent. As part of our search services, because we strongly believe in the evaluation piece going along with goals and being tied to district goals and everybody on the board and the superintendent being clear on that communication, there is an incentive. You get the first year of the superintendent evaluation framework as part of the cost of the search. So the first year there is no additional charge to take this extra framework on. Otherwise it's a $395 annual fee to have the product, which you certainly have access to at any time. Even if you chose tonight not to have WSB help you with your search, you still have that as a WSB service if you'd like to buy it. And we also, the other piece of our program or our process with our search is that if you have that transition meeting that I talked about, where you sit down, have a communication, get to know each other. Your teachers here talked about how cool that was to sit and get to know their new team. There is a 2-year guarantee then on this. If for some reason your new superintendent leaves, not because of illness or some other unforeseeable, but just would leave, there wouldn't be a second charge for the time of the consultant to help you with a new search. But it means having the piece to that is having that transition meeting in the first 4 months, just so we make sure you're off on a good start. Okay? So a couple more notes about that evaluation framework. There is a reference manual, there's training videos, very clear, laid out. In fact, some of it you can even go out on the WSB site right now. They've got information on that framework if you're interested. Everything from the purpose, like your group tonight, went back to the beginning about why they did it and what they're doing. Same thing. What's the purpose of evaluation? What are the legal requirements, the timelines? How do you set up goals? What kind of survey tools? Give you the templates for figuring out how the board provides input on that evaluation. All of those things are included in there. So most important job as a board, most impactful selection that you have is that person in that seat that's managing your day-to-day activities in your district. We have a lot of experience, a lot of understanding of Wisconsin schools, public schools, and we still want this to be your search. Yes, we're here to be advisors. Yes, we're here to help you. We'll take care of the details and make the process as smooth as it can be for you.
But the resources are provided to you, and it is your search. You will have input into each phase of it and what you'd like it to look like. So, with that, thank you for the time, and any questions? I know you've had the proposal for a couple of days.
They have not.
Oh, they have not?
Yep.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. All right. How about we do this then? I know you're gonna talk later. If you have questions, if you funnel them to Mike, you can give me a call, email.
Yeah, I mean, we can fire away right now too. I mean,
Yep, some of them now, yep.
Yep.
In this packet, does it have the cost of your services?
Yes, on page
Where?
10.
Thank you.
Yep, not to exceed. So when we build the budgets, we include all the options that you might think you want. And you will only be billed for the time that's actually put in. So there's a not to exceed in there of $13,540. There will not be any hidden numbers. And a lot of the districts, I'll be honest, when I do those, we don't even get to the not to exceed. But if you would want every piece and every activity that we possibly could do, that's the not to exceed amount. You would not get billed for anything more than that.
So everything that you have explained in every one of those PowerPoints, all the meetings that you would have to come down here to meet with us on a personal basis, in a private meeting or whatever.
Yep. It's all been factored in.
That's all factored in that 13.5.
Yep.
Okay.
That is correct. The only thing that would ever change this is if something happened unusually and we ended up reopening the search a couple different times and something unexpected happened, that'd be different.
And if we wanted a different schedule, just for say, we decided that we wanted a different timeline schedule and hire closer to the date of start, that you're just, this is a hypothetical. Okay.
And things could also be simple. In the event, the way I was told, in the event, say we only got a small amount of applicants, and we said, now we can do this ourselves. We could say, we're good from here on out. You know what I mean?
Yes. You could modify it. It wouldn't have to have all those meetings that are listed on that timeline, depending on that planning meeting, and especially after you first post. To what Mike's saying, you might change your course about how you want to do things.
The superintendent eval, we all know we need a new one.
Yes, we do.
So that, and we've talked about that, and this was one of the tools. With the contract, we get that for 1 year?
1 year.
2 years, 1 year?
One.
Okay.
Oh, I thought
It's a 2 year guarantee that the person stays.
Oh, but 1 year with the evaluation tool. Okay.
Do we have to use all of the services though, like the full part of it?
Oh yeah, so how much would you have to do for that evaluation to kick in as part of the cost? I mean, was that like
Oh.
weird question?
So here, can I ask a preliminary question first? Okay. So let's say that we're going through the process and we're just gonna put out hypotheticals here. So don't take this like in stone, right? I'm just gonna throw out hypotheticals. Let's say we as a board are like, okay, we want you to put out the job posting, but we'll review the applications and go through them. And then, you know, you can make the calls, but we'll do this part, and then we just need you to run the background checks. Like, can we pick and choose pieces to do? And then I guess that would be the follow-up question is, if yes, at what threshold do we meet the criteria to have the evaluation?
I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb, and then I'll go back tomorrow. I'll go on my way home. If you're agreeing to have us help with your search, I think that's gonna be enough to get this framework for the first year. My only caution with some of that scenario, and I'm just speaking from a consultant's piece of it, if I'm helping with the posting, but not coming to the meeting where you review applicants, that's one of those services and expertise we provide in terms of what to look for, what pieces, what things on resumes are, you know, should be there, but maybe, I mean, that review and analysis piece, that would be kind of important.
Which is why I just said hypothetically, like
Yeah.
just throwing out pieces of the process.
But I will tell you, when that timeline's built, do you need 2 nights necessarily to do the first round interviews? Maybe not. I mean, that kind of thing can be trimmed.
That's flexible.
Maybe we can do the planning meeting and the stakeholder meetings on the same day, and that's one trip. I did pick January 28th specifically, even though I know the principals would cringe a little bit. That is an in-service day that's probably already planned. But if there's some way I could work with them to do those teacher stakeholder meetings while everybody's not dealing with kids and having to get subs, it's just an opportunity. But there are some things we can do like that to reduce the number of times.
Which stakeholder meetings were you thinking? Were you thinking just teachers and administrators, or administrators, teachers, classified, and community?
As many as you want.
Okay.
Which would come on the planning meeting, really great.
Yep. How many groups would you like, and then try to get as many into a group as a day. Now, there is a community survey too. That's for everybody.
Right.
So you do get input that way from all kinds of different groups too. So, yeah. I've done as many as 5 focus groups in a day. We started in the morning and just kept doing it. It's just a scheduling coordination. And if the board, I like to do that in the planning meeting, honestly. It's to get your input, because you're there already and rather do a separate meeting for you. But we can make it work however it works out. Does that answer? I mean, it looks like you're still thinking.
I have a few, because I've gone through the hiring process in another state, and we did it our own, as our own entity. And understanding the resumes and what should be in there and whatnot. I'm like, are you going to allow us to just look through it ourselves and make our own determination? Are you going to guide us and say, no, this one's a better candidate, or this? Okay.
No, my role at the table is just to make sure that you're reviewing all the important pieces, and if there's questions. Because sometimes there's acronyms, or there's particular programs, or there's things that people have done.
Right. Okay.
I'm there as a resource to help explain what's in there.
So clarifying that a little bit. So say we get whatever. Again, hypothetically, we get 20 applicants, and we see them all. We look at them all. Will we get, like, from you? Will you say these are probably our top 5? No, you get nothing like that. So we literally sit down and we say what we think, and we come up with a number.
And I will tell you, within the process, when we sit and talk about those things, when you review those applicants, in every situation, there's some that win.
Absolutely. Right.
It limits itself.
Absolutely.
But I do have the score sheets, and I have some things to help guide the conversation.
Okay.
But that's your conversation.
Okay.
Yep. What I will do is when you sit at that planning meeting and you say, these are the things, because we have a set list of questions, what you're looking for in your next superintendent, that's what gets posted out electronically. We create a brochure for you. When you're looking at those candidates, I am going to bring you back to, these are the things you listed as strengths we're looking for, so that conversation doesn't go 5,000 directions. That's my role, is to, remember now you said this is a priority for you, so where does that fall with the current?
So you'll facilitate us and keep us on task. Okay, good.
That's my role.
Well, and I've got to believe if we don't do what you're suggesting here, you're probably not going to give us a 2-year guarantee. I mean, if we pick and
I have a
choose.
supervisor, but I think if you have the basic components of the search, yes, I think that's still good. If you have the stakeholder input, okay, and we're helping you with getting those questions and keeping everything legal and appropriate, that's the main role for us.
That's why I think we have to be careful what we would pick and choose as to what we want to do and bring you in. I think if we want that.
Don't cut corners, right? Don't want to cut corners, right? You don't want to cut corners.
We need to go through.
No, hypothetical. Speak for our team. We're here as your service entity, your agency.
Right.
So, again, there are some basic components, I think, for us to put WSB, that we did that search, so that there's some, we're taking some responsibility for that. So there are some pieces.
Right. Heidi.
Okay, so I have 2 questions. One, would we be working with you personally?
I'm the closest one.
You're the
to
closest
you.
one,
Yes.
perfect, okay, so that's my first question. My second question is, since you have done an extensive amount of searches for boards, I'm gonna be real with all of you right now.
Yeah.
How many of these boards pick and choose and actually pull you out and sit there and say, no, I don't want you to do this, no, I don't want you to do this? Like, do they really sit down and like sit there?
This is a new conversation, but I'm open to new activities.
No, I'm saying for the information of these board members and stuff like that. Like when you sit down and actually do a planning meeting and stuff like that, does the board actually kind of sit there and go, you know what, you're great, you know, and you're actually going to plan this out and you're actually going to get us and keep us on task and all that kind of stuff. Do they literally stay to the schedule, or are they doing the things that my colleagues are kind of inferring of? Do they pick and choose, or do they really kind of sit there and go, you know, this is pretty.
Most of the time, but there are some things, those stakeholder groups, your timeline, how you want your posting to go.
Right.
Those are decisions.
Right. I'm just saying in general,
But
like.
have I sat with the group before and you're hypothetical? My mind is going, oh, I'm gonna have to talk to somebody tomorrow about how.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. It doesn't happen very often. That's what I was trying to say. And I was trying to be kind about it to my colleagues, you know, of like, this is your job as the consultant to actually keep us on track, to facilitate, to make sure that we're staying within the legal framework of choosing a superintendent that might be a little above all of our heads that are here and so forth. Especially with the extensive network of 37 states that you have to be able to work with.
37 states?
Yeah, that's what it's.
So I'm thinking of the fiscally responsible. If we're gonna go to referendum, we need to show the taxpayers that we're doing everything we can to save
engagement
costs.
portion of that and stuff sits there and kind of says, you know, of this is the services, this is how deep we are actually digging to find someone. We're all not up here going, oh, we know better as a board. We're actually reaching out to the public going, hey, what do you guys actually want? That public feedback coming in, especially at the price that's listed here. I mean, what you're providing, especially the legal services.
There you go. The
legal services.
Did you read that?
Yes, if we can communicate, you know, like to the public and so forth, you know, of the depth that this would be able to provide.
I just like to cover all my bases, which is why I said hypothetically.
Well,
My
I
goodness.
just, because I know that hiring in the state of Wisconsin, it was brought to my attention, is not like hiring in another state. It's a little bit easier in another state than it is here because of all the different legal steps that we have to take. And I just want to make sure that there's legal backing to make sure that we don't miss a step and get sued.
And that is part of, and we do have, that's part of it, it's in your proposal too.
Right.
It's not just me. We have the attorneys at the Office of Medicine, so when things come up, I am not an attorney, okay?
Right.
So, questions come up, I call down there.
It goes to the consultation.
So those people are available. But I can appreciate your being creative, right? So
Asking questions.
My mind is thinking, well, that's a good conversation at our next group meeting too, is what pieces can we do? But I am gonna be honest with you that if we're gonna have our name on it, there's pieces that we are just gonna have to think about.
I just wanted to know in case it came up in discussion.
Yep, well, I appreciate the attention.
I have a question. I think, you weren't involved, I mean, did we go through WASB when we hired you, Dr. Hansen? I mean, because none of us were on the board at that time.
So you're all new.
Yeah, so I don't know how that process happened the last time.
Yep,
Was there community involvement at that one?
No, because
It was COVID.
It was the day after.
It was COVID, so things were quite a bit different.
But
I didn't realize.
We were just coming
that.
on,
Yes,
so we
we
were,
just.
like, I saw the videos.
Yes.
I was part of the video
I did this. Yeah, I
interviews,
watched.
because they were all interviewed.
Okay,
on-
I forgot about
so
that.
There was
video,
calls.
right?
So it was all different. Yeah.
And then people's
Okay.
questions, I believe, Fran,
where Dr. Kupper took those questions
Yeah.
and then passed them along to the candidates. And
Okay.
so that, now it can be done, of course, a little
Differently, sure.
But, and I'm
Sure.
thinking there was probably a survey, I didn't do my research on that part of it, all stuff.
Don't remember one myself, but-
I
don't remember.
Yeah.
I'd have to have
Okay.
Cindy. Yeah, I'd have to
Yeah.
have Cindy.
I forgot about that, sorry.
Yeah.
Nope, that's just.
So we're on the list. We're on the list of locals that have used them.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Other questions, comments, discussion?
Do we have,
We can.
we make a decision about
We
this
can.
at a later date?
Yeah.
Can we
And then
table
you
it?
guys are gonna talk and you will get back.
So what, so that was the one thing I had wrote down is what, how soon do you need to know for us to fall into this timeline?
On that timeline, I had the binders being sent to you the last week of December. That's just so you would have that information, because I put a planning meeting pretty early in January.
Yeah, January
So-
7th, according to this, but yeah.
You guys can look at that and I'll figure that, I mean, it just would have to bounce a week or so, if it takes a week or so longer, because I need to let other people that do that printing.
Sure.
And it's a holiday.
So our next scheduled meeting is until January 5th,
Right, right.
so.
But I just picked,
I get it.
you know,
Yep.
the day of the week. If you wanna have a week where you have 2 meetings, if you want another week, meeting.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
of your-
Right, speed up part of this, yeah.
Condense that.
Yeah.
I avoided having 2 meetings in the same week when I did the draft. That's all. So those dates are.
Okay.
I think we need to have another discussion about the calendar and then about who that we wanna hire. That's fine.
Well, then, yeah, the calendar part would fall into the planning part, but it would be the if you want to hire type thing. So, do we want, are we gonna, okay. Anything else for her while she's standing at the podium?
Yep, here's your time. I feel like I've been, that I'm not quite sure you all have a clear picture yet, so please, I'm here. Ask away.
Well, I think too, it's, depends on what we consider. I just wrote our top 3 topics, in other words, what we want in a superintendent, but that would be based on what you were talking about. And then we determine what we're looking for.
And that would be in the planning, really.
Yeah.
Right.
And we do have a list of questions that are in the community survey, and in the community survey, it's a drop down where people pick,
Okay.
Okay. But when I sit with boards, I leave it open. The options are there, certainly it's a conversation. On a survey, you have to kind of give choices and then put other or whatever. But within the conversation, you get those same set of questions, so I'm getting the same information from all, and the same thing with the focus groups, it's the same questions. So it's a comparison of apples to apples and what people want.
Do we have any other groups giving us a proposal?
We do not.
Okay.
No, that's what Spencer was just saying too, so we would have to research that, like what other ones are out there. I know they're competition to you, but what other options are out there?
I can get you a couple more, I can email it to you as soon as I get home tonight. Yep.
Okay.
There's probably 2 other ones.
Okay. Okay,
I think
perfect.
we need to have a robust discussion about it, all other ones and this one, and before we give a definitive answer to anybody.
Okay.
I will just say, I think that's a great idea. I will just say that we just need to, with the timeline,
Right.
that if certain positions were to become vacant with this, we need to make sure we have enough time to fill positions and
So there
just, if that were, so just not procrastinating it, but still making sure that we're being
There are
responsible.
several in our region, in our CISA that are already open. Not many, but there are several, and there will be quite a few that will come up the first couple weeks of January. So we need to decide if we're gonna have a special meeting, if we're gonna wait till the 6th. If it's not sounding like people wanna make a decision tonight.
I think we need to have a special meeting. I think we need to have a special meeting with Heidi. I'll just echo her.
Yep.
If we can get that done. We're so close to the holiday.
So we're
Next week. I don't know.
I think you're good.
I have
Yeah, you
Christmas.
can keep listening. You can keep listening all you want. What's that?
I said I have Christmas Day off, and that's all.
I actually don't.
Don't,
well, you were
when you're looking
grandparents.
around and you don't see anyone else but you.
Okay. If we,
Technically, I don't even have Christmas off.
One
Should we-
last piece to all of your concerns. I've had searches that didn't start till May. Okay?
Wow, that's too
You know, and it's tough. But I will also say, there's options. You know, if you don't want to race this, like I said up there before, this is the most important decision the board needs to do. Can it be done in the next timeline? But yeah, to speak to those concerns, it's tight right now to get it done and get it in. Those postings in April and May don't get the pools.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
People do
Right.
now.
and missed the boat on some.
It's hard.
Yeah, they do start looking in January for a new position. Yeah.
So I wish you all the best of luck. If I'm fortunate enough that you're new WSB, I'd love to come back and visit with you some more. But good luck with the job, because it's a big one, it's an important one, and it's nice to see that a lot of willingness to be open and honest with your questions, because that's what you need to have.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
So we probably should make a decision on what we're gonna, when we're gonna do this. So,
I don't wanna get into May.
correct,
No,
correct.
We've
no.
gotta
So,
get
well,
this.
so can
Are
we,
you talking about like the special board
Can we-
meeting so we can figure it out?
well, or add it on to like academy. It could be added on to our academy.
I think we need to do. I think we need to
So-
do it before. So here's my thing is like, because we just got this tonight, I haven't even had a chance to
Yeah.
look this over. So, but I worry that if we waited until the board academy meeting, we're gonna look back and be like, crud, I wish we would have done this earlier because now we just,
So it's also gonna depend on what you're asking for, because if we're asking for other groups, I don't know, or other, I'm gonna have to find out who they are.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna reach out to them and see if they can even get to a special meeting or send us something. So then we're looking at, a week from now is the 22nd,
Right.
and then the rest of the month is shot.
Yeah.
Because then I'm gone from the 25th through the 1st. So we have a 2-week, so if we don't get it in next week, then we have a 2-week that is not happening. So then you are at academy,
You're at academy, yeah.
so.
is Christmas next week?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
It is. It's
So that's what I mean.
next Wednesday.
So that's what I'm saying. So our timing is. So that's what I mean. So we got, their option would be 1 week from today. The option would be 1 week from today, but I don't know if I can get much more info.
Yep, nope, I didn't realize.
And then I
Christmas
think we're all the way
week,
to,
so-
then I think we're all the way to
Doing
academy
good.
night.
And
Or in between academy and regular meeting. You know, you could go on the 12th.
I'm just gonna throw this out there too. I don't think $13,540 is out of line
I don't either.
for hiring a position that we're hiring. So if we're worrying about that, I think that's not out of line.
I guess I don't know what other third parties are gonna give us that's better.
Well, it's,
I'm not against
There's-
it, I just ask questions.
no, I'm not saying, just saying, I'm just saying in my mind, I don't think that is out of line for a position that we're looking to fill.
Rick,
And-
I agree with you because I know from our last down where I came from, they were asking 40,000, and so when I'm looking at this, the cost, that's not my objection at all. Actually, it was a very good price, but for all the services that they will provide us and lead us through. I just want to know, I want to do our due diligence of having a few other quotes. That's the only thing. And maybe that's just in a memo type thing.
Would there be some other service that you're looking for that entity to provide for us
So
than
the
what
only
these guys
two
do?
search services that I can find so far that have been used commonly in the state of Wisconsin is Hazard Young Etia and Associations, which is HYA. They're used by larger districts seeking candidates outside of Wisconsin. And then McPherson and Jacobson, also popular in the Midwest. Again, these are kind of the broad going out and looking at that national level, but I mean, considering they have 37 state outlets, that's
And that many people that have used them.
right.
They're reputable.
Right. So,
But get back to my question, is there some other service that you would
It's
want
not the
another
service,
entity to provide, or?
I just want to be as transparent to the community as possible.
Okay.
And do our due diligence of looking at why we didn't go with one group versus the other, or why did we just go with WASB and have people ask us, well, why didn't you go out further and go look at different groups as well?
So I can,
That's the main reason for looking beyond. And I would like to have, I don't think there's one group that could send to all 50 states unless WASB does it through the National Association for School Boards.
Well, that's what she said. The National Affiliation of School with that NASA, and then the other consortium of state school boards. So it does reach out. Because it's saying it'll go out on a job board of 28,000 hits and specific clicks on a vacancy of 1,500. So I don't know. I think time. I'm not one. When she said that May, just maybe.
I don't want to wait that long.
I mean, I
You
don't
can always
get
change
into
course.
pinching pennies for, to get us behind on the whole process.
I just want to make sure we have input and we're able to, my biggest thing was just making sure we're able to see all the applicants.
Yeah,
Like, I did, and she said that was my big thing.
That's a huge thing.
And then, of course, my question was just hypothetical. But that was my main thing, is making sure that we're not being told like what to do, but more so being guided, which is exactly what she said.
Right, and what she said to me was everything I wanted to hear. In hiring somebody to help us, or we just do it in-house.
No,
And I don't think we have the personnel
I don't
to
feel
do
qualified.
I mean,
I don't think any of us are qualified for that.
That we could do,
Sorry.
but not.
I'm
I
almost.
think
I'm thinking out loud that maybe we should just go for it, because we're not restricted to that. She indicated that there are services that are available.
Right.
And if we see it's not going in a direction that we think we're not obligated to complete that. She just said that the max
That
is
would be the
13.4.
max, right?
13.5.
Well, okay, 13.5. I don't know. I'm just saying, because we can kick it around, but.
yeah, it's the most important position that
it
we're
is-
gonna
it is-
hire.
it is-
Is there
it is
really a
key.
price on that?
It is key.
Because it's gonna trickle down the entire district.
I like some of the things that are in there, the transition and some of those things. I don't know if all those things, I think they're.
I still would like to look at this booklet first before I make a vote.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
Regardless.
so something in either, something's gotta happen now, or we're gonna put it on the agenda on the 6th.
I would make a motion to go ahead and hire this company to get us
I'll second.
with the process
Okay.
going.
Right there.
Okay.
Is that a for real motion?
Yes,
Rick?
okay.
So I have a motion by Ricky Murray to go with the WASB presentation and hire them to start our search. I have a second by Heidi Hammes.
Okay.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed, because I haven't had a
understand.
chance to look at this whole packet.
I understand.
That's the reason.
I understand. 6-1, we will go with WASB. Thank you. This is a fantastic conversation. Yeah, definitely look this over. We always can remotion things. So,
We have the
Yep.
planning meeting.
great. If we want to back out, back out.
After the
Right.
planning meeting, we back out.
But at least we can get things started. I will call them tomorrow. I will look into some things.
Are we signing a contract with them?
That was the motion, yes.
Okay.
Are we picking dates or not yet?
Okay, thank you very much. Next we have 2025-2026 meet and confer schedule of meetings, where the next meeting is scheduled January 12th of 2026 here at Robert Kupper Learning Center beginning at 6 p.m.
I'd just like to always promote those. It's a great turnout on the last one. I look forward to this one, so keep you updated on that process. and get you all ready for March and then into how those week confers may impact your budget in terms of things that might impact Schedule Bs, handbooks, et cetera.
Are we allowed to come to the meeting to sit?
We'd have
There's a committee.
getting close to over a quorum.
Who's on that committee?
We'll put the minutes together on this next one, launch those, so, and then a full report to the board.
Those three. Who's on that again?
Actually leading that, Teresa and Katie.
Who's on that again? I know you both, right? No,
Katie and I.
just you two? Okay. I don't mean just, I just mean, I meant only two people.
It's okay. Everyone's just telling me how it is tonight. That's
So,
karma.
so technically, Rick, if you wanted to come,
gave you a
three
chance.
would still be, right. We just wanna make sure more people weren't.
I'm humble enough to say it.
Yeah. So thank you for being on that. And, that's on our upcoming items too, so.
No. I was just curious.
Okay, thank you for that update. We actually have nothing under finance and operation, nothing under unfinished, and nothing under new. So we have upcoming events and activities embedded. Anything of point of interest? Just take a look.
No, just your normal meetings there and then heading into WASB conference. So thank you so
So-
much for your leadership there.
So if Rick wants to go to the meet and confer, just to sit in the back and listen, can you just notice it so that in case there's other board members that want to sit in the back? Is
Just
that
let him,
possible?
just let him know if you're gonna, and then you would have to, right?
No, because once we get over 3,
I was gonna
Right.
say, if it's just Rick that wants to be there, we wouldn't have a quorum, so.
Right.
I don't know what's on my calendar, but
I'm
I
not,
might.
I'm going.
You can
I
take
have something
my
else.
I don't know what it is, but that's something.
No, Heidi, and you, I think you already know, but member facilities will be the
Yeah.
first Monday instead. Member
Yes.
facilities will be the first Monday. Sweet.
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Katie, second by Heidi to adjourn. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you all very much. Thank you for whatever.